welcome to Leo season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. My name is Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer and an embodiment educator. And I am taking some much needed time off this summer. So these horoscopes were recorded way back in Gemini season. Please let me know how they land for you in the comments. And just know that I do read my comments, and I'm always so grateful to hear how the current influences are affecting everyone differently. Astrology is vast and sun sign horoscopes are general, so remember that not everything will resonate for everyone and to take what works and leave the rest. I also want to remind you that horoscope astrology is most accurate for your rising sign. But, pro tip, there are 30 degrees in every sign, and if your rising degree is later than 25, I would recommend also listening or reading to the horoscopes for the signs that follow yours. If you have a different rising and sun sign, listen for your sun sign for information on your general energy. And you can also listen to your moon and Venus placements for more insight into the current state of your relationships. If you enjoy my readings, make sure to check out your 2025 year ahead expanded horoscope. Those readings are discounted by 25% now, but still have so much information that is very relevant to this year and to this season. You can find them linked in the show notes below. I also want to invite you to join me with my friend, colleague, and collaborator, Ramon Parrish, on the Leo New Moon, July 24th, for a special online event we're hosting based on Ramon's recently published book, Drama of the Planets. We'll learn about Ramon's process as an intuitive poet and practice tuning in with our natal charts, celestial muses, and planetary allies for inspiration in our own artistry and poetry. If you want to work with me personally, you can find me on Mondays in Somatic Space, a weekly online class where we practice embodying current astrology through gentle exploratory movement, meditation, and visualization. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free, please consider signing up for a recurring monthly donation. If every one of our listeners gave $1 a month, we would cover all of our operating expenses and have funds freed up to offer you even more. Other great ways to support this work are to follow, subscribe, like, comment, sign up for our free newsletter, and send this work to your friends and networks. Links for everything are in the show notes, and you can also find everything I just talked about at embodiedastrology.com. All right, everybody, welcome to Leo season. Meow. Your horoscopes are coming up next. Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Leo season. So Leo season is a special season for Geminis because this year, your ruling planet Mercury is retrograde in Leo as Leo season begins. For the Gemini solar charts, Leo rules your third house of communication. Gemini is the third sign. Gemini as a symbol and Mercury, the planetary energy Gemini is associated with, are also associated with communication. So we have a season where a lot of emphasis is being placed on communication. Communication is over 90% nonverbal. A lot of it happens unconsciously. So much of what we are perceiving is coming through channels that never really reach our conscious mind. We perceive through our bodily and energetic awareness. We perceive through implicit bias and like deep DNA memory. We perceive nuances and subtleties of gestures and attitudes and postures. And all of these perceptions are just as important as the words that somebody is using and what we are perceiving their meaning to be. So this place of communication, the third house, and Gemini and Mercury also as symbols, before they mean anything about communicating in the way that we usually think about that word, they are symbols that talk a lot about the mind. So the mind is a slippery trickster of a creature, and it does its own thing a lot of the time. You know how it goes. You can physically be somewhere and mentally be absolutely not there. Maybe in a million other places, but potentially not in the place where you physically are. So our minds can voyage into the past, into the future, into the theoretical, the imaginative, the nightmarish so quickly. And our minds also are creatures of habit. The way that our nervous systems work is that it can take a while for a circuit to get set in place, but once there is a circuit or a link, that's the way that energy flows. And so once there's a pattern of something, then we just do it automatically until we train ourselves to change the pattern. And this is super functional for a lot of parts of our lives. It would not really work very well for us if we had to learn to walk every single day, or how to, pick up a fork and feed ourselves every single time we sat down for a meal. It is in our best interest to be creatures of habit for a lot of different circumstances and reasons. However, when it comes to the ways that we communicate with ourselves and how our minds frame our perception, habits can be incredibly limiting and sometimes outright destructive. So my feeling as we move into Leo season is that a lot of you are becoming much more aware of mental habits and perceptive orientations than you ever have been before. And in this awareness, you are recognizing the agency and choice that you have to change your mind. And as you change your mind, perception shifts and new and different experiences are made available to you. Now, this doesn't just happen on its own, usually. Sometimes it does. Sometimes our consciousness gets changed by an external event, and we can suddenly kind of see things in a different way. Sometimes those kinds of experiences can be pleasant. I think that this often can happen for people with loving relationships, right? And especially the energy of friendship and curiosity can be so helpful in opening our minds and understanding perspectives from different points of view. And sometimes shifts in consciousness that happen really quickly can actually be because of trauma, and or we experience something that feels really traumatic, and like suddenly things are really different and we're perceiving it differently. So I feel that many of you are potentially experiencing both of those possibilities right now. External factors changing your consciousness in ways that feel both pleasant and exciting and expansive, and also potentially traumatizing and, really sudden or jarring. I also feel that regardless of what's happening in the external, a lot of you are doing your own work around it. And this is what I was saying before I got into that tangent about, how it can happen externally, is that for the most part, for people to change their mind, they have to be the ones who really initiate that kind of process, stay open to it, and persistent with it. We can change our habits, we can change our brains, but the older we get, the harder it is. And so working to change thought patterns, working to shift habits requires dedication and consistency. And consistency is key. So, meditating for 10 minutes a day, or even like 2 minutes a day, will be more effective in the long term if you do it daily than going on a meditation retreat for an entire week if you only do it once. So if you are trying to expand your mind right now, and I think that a lot of you are, it's like you're trying to think differently about things, see things differently, have a different kind of orientation. I feel that a lot of you really understand this kind of law of attraction or magnetism, not in some kind of gaslighty, magical thinking way that you can have whatever it is that you imagine that you can have, but more in the recognition that your thoughts totally affect your emotions. And then once you start feeling a kind of way, that has a somatic manifestation. So if I'm thinking about how disaster is going to happen to me right around the corner, then that is going to produce a feeling of fear and anxiety in my body, which will create a literal somatic experience of fearfulness as adrenaline and cortisol get released into my bloodstream. And then I happen to run into you on the corner and you're not a disaster. You're just you being a Gemini. But I'm like scared, and I feel tight and I feel rigid. And then it's like, yeah, then you're going to pick that up. Right. And maybe then you walk away and you're like, like Renee doesn't really like me, but it's not that. It's just that I'm feeling kind of freaked out. So that's an example. Why don't you contemplate how many times a day you think about something that produces an emotional and then a somatic response? And why don't you contemplate also the variety of different kinds of thoughts and responses that you can have? So we can, fantasize about what is lovely and beautiful, and our bodies can open to a lovely, beautiful type of experience just as much as fantasizing about something that is terrible. So the power of your thoughts is what I am getting to. Mercury has stationed retrograde just a couple of days before Leo season begins on July 18th. Leo season then begins, and there is a very powerful new moon on the 24th. And about a week later, on the 31st, your ruling planet Mercury comes together with the sun for what's called the inferior conjunction. And this period of time from, let's just say from the beginning of Leo season until the beginning of August, this period of time feels, I feel like you're having fireworks going off in your brain a little bit, and some of you might be a little stunned. Is the somatic sensation that I'm getting? There's like it's almost like you've been impressed by something and you don't even know what to think about it yet. Or there may be so many options and possibilities or new ideas starting to come in that it's like it feels kind of wild in there. But as we move into the month of August, and especially as we start moving towards Mercury station direct on August 11th, this shifts in feeling tone. And I think that a lot of you you're feeling excited about something. Some of you are feeling a lot more playful and creative and in flow. Some of you are having new love kinds of feelings, and this could be for a person or a place, or maybe you've got a new pet, or maybe you're just in love with yourself. But some of you are feeling like you're feeling yourself a little bit as we get into August. I think you're feeling pretty good. You're feeling creative. You're feeling passionate. You're feeling expressive. And by the full moon in Aquarius on August 9th, things are just clicking for Gemini. I really feel like something is coming together. Some of you are having big new ideas about how to get more of what you want. And I talked to you about this last month in your Cancer season reading. This sense of really needing to value what you already have in order to get more of what you want and what you need. And what I mean by that is value yourself first and foremost, because you are your number one possession, number one asset, and who you are inherently is invaluable, right? Like you as a person, you as an energy, your time, right? Your creativity. We can't even put a dollar amount on any of that. And I feel that some of you are really starting to recognize that. It's like you are claiming inherent value that you have always possessed, that you are. And then you're also recognizing your talents, your strengths, your capacities in some new and different kinds of ways. And this is, it's giving you something that you can mobilize with. And so by the time we get to the full moon on August 11th, and then Mercury stationing direct a couple of days after that, I just feel like some of you have, it's like you have opportunities coming for you. You see where there are opportunities that you can move towards. Doors are opening for you. And you might have some new ideas or, again, invitations, opportunities to expand this sense of I'm going to say self-worth. And for some of you, it's like you're expanding your resources. You are able to get more of what you want and what you need. And that will then have an impact on how you feel about yourself. But in general, Leo season for Gemini feels like a lot of affirmation for who you are. And the last thing I'm going to say about this right now, Gemini, is that I don't know if you have seen this this graphic. I'm forgetting what it's called, by Deepa Iyer. It's like everybody has a role in the revolution, you know, like, are you the dreamer? Are you the disruptor? Are you the front lines, medical worker? Like, what is your role in the revolution? And I feel, Gemini, that you have a role in the revolution. If that language resonates for you, because we are living in revolutionary times, I really feel that you have a role right now. And you have something immensely creative to offer to this time. There is something about how you are and who you are that was always made for the times that we are in, because the times that we are in are chaotic. They are trickster. We need multi-dimensional, non-binary role models and languages. And this is what Gemini intelligence can do. It can wordcraft, it can tell stories, it can open up possibilities and consciousness because of the ways that you are able to see things from multiple perspectives. And the more that you can share this and help yourself and others hold variables and complexities and navigate ways through that might not be the straight and narrow kind of point A to point B that a lot of folks are looking for, the more that the collectives around you are able to flourish, because this is so much of what is needed right now, is consciousness that can be adaptable and evolutionary in the revolution. That may or may not land for you, Gemini. I hope that it does. If it does, let me know in the comments what you are up to. What is your role in the revolution? So I want to offer you a little bit of an embodiment practice to close this reading. Embodiment practices are meant to be fun. They're meant to be experimental, and they're also meant to be anchors for anything about the astrology that is sticking with you, that you want to continue to practice and integrate and deepen with. And I just have such a feeling of you needing to have fun right now, and that you are your boldest, you are your best, you are your most brilliant. You give the most to the world around you when you are connected to your inherent playfulness and childlike qualities of creativity and that little bit of mischief, right? Like the hint of danger that Gemini is so good at wearing. So what's the embodiment practice that we're going to do? Okay, what's coming to me is a visualization prompt. And I'm gonna just have my eyes closed while this comes through. Gemini, feel free to modify this, adapt it, let it speak to you in any way that it might speak to you. But what's coming to me is to ask you to visualize yourself as a young child. This is somewhere between the ages of 3 and 6. And I feel that you want to get in touch with the part of your child consciousness that is playful and sneaky. So this feels very much like child intelligence, and definitely Gemini child intelligence. So a little playful, a little sneaky. It's like you're watching what's going on and you're seeing something that is like making you laugh a little bit, or you're like telling yourself a story about what's happening and it's entertaining you, or you're seeing a pattern and you know how to kind of like work a situation or something like that. So I hope that sparks some kind of memory or visualization. And then the embodiment prompt is to allow your body, your full body, to take the shape of that consciousness. So I was starting to do it as I was talking to you. Like I had my hands together. I was doing this kind of like, Mr. Burns kind of like, what are we thinking about? Scheming kind of strategy. I feel myself swaying a little bit and bending my knees and, kind of wanting to like look around to the corner. And I feel sneaky and playful. Okay, so I talked myself into that. Gemini, I'm curious what comes up for you. So the embodiment prompt for you for Leo season is to imagine and reflect on your child self, aged somewhere between 3 and 6 years old. Imagine yourself in a moment when you felt quintessentially Gemini. And in our bodies, Gemini rules the lungs and the air in the lungs, which feed the heart. And I've said this in a million Gemini horoscopes, but I really believe that the Gemini tribe is a group of people who are here to feed our hearts through breath, through story, through possibility, through multidimensional, imaginative variety. And as you imagine your sneaky, playful child self, let what comes to mind also really be carrying some kind of energy of just adoration for you, because I don't know. I mean, all kids are cute. I'm just going to say, like, I think kids are cute for the most part. But Gemini kids are so cute. Like, y'all were the cutest kids. I don't know. I mean, disagree if you want, but I just feel like when I meet Gemini kids, I can spot them from a mile away because they have these twinkly little eyes. And Gemini adults do too, right? It's like this twinkly little eyes, and they're like, tee hee 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 hee. So cute, so chatty, so curious, so, observant. So I don't know, maybe that doesn't sound like you to you, but it sounds like you to me, Gemini. Tell me what resonates for you. And I hope that any or all of that feels helpful in Leo season and beyond. I'm sending you a lot of love. Bye for now.